Why volume analysis is more effective than classic technical analysis. Most traders are familiar with standard vertical volume, the kind that shows the number of coins or contracts traded within each candle. But very few know about horizontal volume, which offers a much deeper insight into market behavior. What is horizontal volume? Horizontal volume represents the amount of traded contracts or coins at each price level over a selected time range. It can be displayed as daily, weekly, or contract-based profiles, but in this case, we're using a dynamic volume profile, meaning we're analyzing volume distribution across a custom selected range. The price level with the highest traded volume within that range is called the point of control, POC. This tool lets you identify where the most money was concentrated historically, visually represented by spikes or bulges in the profile. How to use this in trading. Let's explore a few real scenarios using Bitcoin futures with a price step of 20. Example 1. Suppose we had a consolidation, followed by a drop from a specific level. We apply the volume profile to that area. Price drops, first wave. Then, price returns to the POC. There's a slight overshoot, but price reacts to the POC and continues downward. From a classic technical analysis standpoint, you might say this is a retest at the bottom of the range. But in reality, price never reaches the retest level exactly. Meanwhile, the POC-based entry is far more precise. Example 2. We extend the profile further. Again, we see price drops, comes back to the POC, reacts to it, then continues falling in line with the downtrend. Why? Because at that level, there was a historical volume cluster, meaning large participation from market players. Example 3. Another wave. Once again, the price moves downward, returns to high volume zones, sometimes with a deeper pullback, and reacts almost every time. What about in an uptrend? Let's flip the logic. Price moves down, then reverses. First wave of growth forms. Then there's a correction back to the POC. Price reacts upward, bounces again, and continues climbing. The pattern remains consistent. Price often respects volume more than standard levels. Cross-asset example. Euro futures, 6E. Now let's apply the same logic to a different instrument. We draw a volume profile on a downward wave. Price shows a reaction at two separate zones, then continues downward in line with the overall trend. Even in cases where the price doesn't fully reach the volume level, just 1 to 2 ticks away, it still respects the area and shows a clear reaction. This shows that volume levels can act as true support resistance, even without precise touches. Volume profile, just the beginning. Volume profile is just the tip of the iceberg when it comes to volume and cluster analysis. But even at this stage, it can significantly improve your trading. For example, imagine a scenario where you're watching for a retest of a local high. Instead of relying on the upper boundary of a price range, an entry based on the POC can be far more accurate in both bearish and bullish contexts. Cluster profile view. Switching to cluster profile mode, we now see volume distribution at each individual price level inside every bar. This opens up possibilities for analyzing delta, net difference between buys and sells, bid-ask imbalances, microstructure inside candles, advanced tool clouds indicator. A more advanced volume analysis tool is the clouds indicator, based on a proprietary algorithm. When enabled in accumulation mode, it shows circles at price levels where significant volume was accumulated. It works similarly to a trade tape, but instead of streaming, the data is aggregated and shown on the chart. Each circle represents a cluster of market orders, and price often reacts to these areas, sometimes immediately, sometimes on retest. Of course, not every cloud will lead to a price reaction, and that's normal. No method is perfect. But some clouds fail. Some react with trend continuation. Others signal reversals. The takeaway. High volume areas shown by tools like volume profile, cluster profile, and clouds reflect real market interest, usually from larger players or institutional participants. And remember, volume equals money invested into the asset. It shows real commitment, and it drives price far more reliably than traditional technical patterns. Ready to go deeper? Studying volume and cluster analysis can open a new dimension in your trading. It helps you understand what's really happening behind the candles. You can find the download link for the volume analysis platform SBProX in the description.